Χαίρετε. Οι Τουρκοκύπριοι επέλεξαν τον Μουσταφά Ακιτζί στην θέση του ηγέτη τους. Συζητάμε την ανάδειξη του νέου Τουρκοκύπριου ηγέτη με την Τουρκοκύπρια δόκτωρα Πολιτικών και Κοινωνικών Επιστημών, Umut Bozkurt. Hello.
Hi.
So, why did Akindji win, Ms. Bozkurt?
Before I start, I want to thank you again for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be discussing these with you. Why did Akindji win? There are a number of reasons. I mean, if you look at the two parties that have supported Akindji, two left-wing parties, TDP and BKP, they won around 10% in the last election. So clearly, he won around 60% yesterday. It tells us that it was a coalition, right? Not only of the left, CTP, TDP, BKP, but also right-wing people. There were a number of reasons. One of the things that we need to discuss, which is related to this question, is why did Mr. Erol lose so much support? Because if you look at his votes, he kind of lost almost half of the votes from the last election to today. Around 30,000 votes he basically lost. So I think we need to look at the situation from different basically dimensions. One of the things is I think many people realize that this system is not sustainable anymore. That has been set up after 1974. Because the way they legitimized it after 1974 was basically first by sharing the spoils of the war, then basically distributing Greek Cypriot property. But there came a moment where, you know, there's nothing else to kind of share. So economically speaking...
There is no development, actually.
Economically speaking, the system is not sustainable anymore. That's one of the things. Another thing was the fact that Mr. Erol, while he was a president, he kept on intervening in his party, UBP. So, for example, he led to the resignation of İhsan Küçük, the former leader of the party. So he always gave the impression that he was always trying to intervene in the internal affairs of the party. Number of people who were associating themselves with the UBP, they were very angry with this position of Erol, and so they wanted him out. So I think there are a number of reasons, but one thing we can be for sure is increasing the number of people and not only people on the left who were traditionally supporting a solution in Cyprus, but also people who are supporting right-wing parties, more kind of right-wing oriented. They feel like this system is not sustainable anymore. And another thing that is very important that I think enabled Mr. Akindji to win is what he said with respect to Cyprus's relationship with Turkey. He said, we need brotherly relationship. We don't want to see this traditional motherland, infant land relationship. This has to be changed. So this was another reason why I believe why he won the election.
And Turkish Cypriots respect that Akindji strength. I mean, Turkish Cypriots saw that as something good, something positive.
Well, many Turkish Cypriots, obviously, 60% of them, they supported Akindji. I guess there's a generational thing as well. Like most people, younger generation, they have lost faith in this right-wing project that was set up after 1974. You can also say the TRNC project, because many people, they have good degrees, they come to Cyprus, they can't find jobs, right? So this nationalistic rhetoric, which talks about Greeks as enemy, etc., it doesn't sell anymore, let's say, amongst the younger generation. That's why many people supported Kudret Özersay, for example, who was another leader, you know, who managed to get around 20% of the votes in the first round, mostly kind of center-right oriented people. So I believe many people have basically pinned their hopes on Mr. Akindji to bring a real kind of change in Cyprus.
What are the difficulties now for Mr. Akindji? What difficulties will face as a Turkish Cypriot leader?
Okay, the main promise that he has given was that he is going to find a solution to the Cyprus question, right? And anyway, as the president, that is his main responsibility. He can't intervene in the internal affairs. And so this will be the main challenge. Will he be successful in terms of bringing a settlement in Cyprus or not? But as you know, this doesn't depend only on him, but we need to see the position of Mr. Anastasiadis, we need to see the position of Turkey. Greece, anyway, recently they made this declaration that they don't want to be a guarantor anymore. So I think the main actors here are Turkey and the Greek Cypriots. So if basically an olive branch is also, they also come up with this kind of a position, things can move on. But if not, then Akıncı on his own cannot solve anything, obviously.
How you estimate that will be the position of Turkey? On Cyprus.
Yeah. Today, Mr. Erdogan basically made a few declarations about he congratulated Mr. Akıncı, but he said, we do want a solution in Cyprus, but we won't accept any kind of solution. So that tells me that it's not going to be so easy. For example, if you look at some of the promises of Mr. Akıncı, he was interested in opening up Russia under the UN administration. We have to see how this will be basically accepted by Turkey, because from the very first kind of declarations that have been made by Erdogan, and if you look at the recent kind of basically developments with the Navtex and the Barbaros seismic ship being sent here, if you think about all these developments, you will see that it might not be so easy to convince Turkey for opening up Russia, for example. So we need to wait and see, basically.
It's like Erdogan says to Mr. Akıncı, congratulations, but I'm watching you.
Well, kind of, yes. He says, I'm not going to accept any kind of solution. So we have some red lines, he says. So he also said we are seeing Cyprus as a national cause. So that tells me also that he will be basically cautious he wouldn't be interested in kind of going for any kind of solution for the sake of it.
But is Mr. Akıncı ready to get in direct conflict with Erdogan?
Well, in his declarations during the campaign, he said no. He said we are not interested in establishing a conflictual relationship with Turkey. What we want is basically a peaceful relationship. We want to establish a relationship between two equal brothers, right? Rather than a motherland and an infant land, we want to transform this relationship, which is based on some kind of a, how mother and children relationships are. They include a serious inequality, right? And a hierarchy. He was talking about basically transforming this relationship. And when you look at it from this perspective, you can say that no, he's not interested in establishing a conflictual relationship. I don't think this will be meaningful either, right? Because we need to accept that if you don't convince Turkish policymakers towards a solution, then this thing is not going to work. So you might come to power, and so many people have pinned their hopes in you, and you can just, start a war which is meaningless, in my view. It's not going to bring a serious result, tangible result.
So you agree that the key is in Turkey of the solution of Cyprus problem?
Well, I think the key is in Turkey. The key is finding a common ground, right, between the interests of Turkey, the Turkish Cypriots. For example, the common ground that I can think of quickly is Mr. Akıncı has promised for opening up Russia, and many commentators are talking about the possible repercussions of this process, which are Mr. Anastasiadis might accept, if Varosha is open under a UN administration, might accept opening up Ercan Airport to direct flights, right? Yeah. And also Famagusta port might be open to international trade. These things might lead to a positive impact on Turkey's negotiations with the European Union as well. So basically, right now, Turkey's negotiations with the EU are stalled. They're not really making much progress. And one of the reasons in 2006, because Turkey was not opening up its ports to Greek Cypriot vessels, 8 of the chapters in the EU negotiations.
Yes.
They were basically suspended. So maybe a common ground could be found between Turkey, Turkish Cypriots, and Greek Cypriots, and to kind of so saying that this is going to be positive for all the actors involved, because I think a conflictual relationship between Turkish Cypriots and Turkey is not going to help anything but entirely paralyze the process.
But it's very positive the thing that Akиντζί speaks about. Let's change that mother-child thing to a brothers thing, because if we do that, it means that Turkish Cypriots make a step back from Turkey, so that maybe means something for the Turkish Cypriots and for Cyprus.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very important issue, right? This constituting a more kind of a relationship based on mutual respect. Because many Turkish Cypriots, including the ones that have been traditionally supporting right, they feel that Turkish Cypriots are not being respected and they are belittled constantly by some Turkish politicians. And this also is a significant factor behind the 60% votes behind Akиντζί, because you have to realize that left-wing forces has never managed to
60%.
gain. No.
Okay. We have 3 minutes, and my next question is: until now, Cyprus had these political combinations: left-wing Christofias with far-right Eroglu, left-wing Christofias with left-wing Talat, center-right-wing Tassos Papadopoulos with left-wing Talat, and far-right nationalist Dektash. Up until now, all the above political combinations have failed. So why should now be any different with the right-wing Anastasiadis and the left-wing progressive Akиντζί?
Well, there's always a possibility, a big possibility of a failure. Everybody sees that. But I want to believe that this is a window of opportunity. Why? Because many people in the north and in the south realize more and more that this system is not working, right? It's not sustainable. If you look at the recent processes with the crisis in the south, austerity measures imposed on the Greek Cypriots by the Troika, there's a similar kind of process working in the north as well, with Turkey pushing for certain austerity measures. So many people are feeling that they don't have a breathing space, right? So I believe that it's like many people are willing to embrace a solution. Mind you, there was a research done in the north, and Turkish Cypriots are less willing to, let's say, embrace a solution, because basically many people have lost faith. But I believe if they see political will, moving in that direction, they will definitely, they can definitely get mobilized. Of course, nothing is for sure, right? We need to see that there's a great chance now with Mr. Akиντζί, and Anastasiadis also explained that he would be willing to kind of start the negotiations with Akиντζί as soon as possible. So we have to see it as an opportunity, but as you have rightly mentioned, there's a lot of chance and that this is also going to end up in failure, which is nothing that I really wish for, but there is that possibility. So I think we just need to hope and fight that this time this opportunity brings a real settlement in Cyprus.
Okay, in the last minute, the role of Turkish Cypriots and the Cyprus people?
The role of
Cyprus people on all that thing, on all that tribe.
Yes, I think the process has to be democratized, definitely, right? Until now, we have left it to the elites, political elites, to kind of, basically carry out these negotiations. What needs to be done is that basically representatives of various organizations in the society, including unions, civil society organizations, NGOs, they have to take a more active role in this, right? We shouldn't leave it only to the leaders, and maybe put pressure on the leaders if necessary. So definitely this process has to be further democratized.
Thank you very much for being here. Κυρίες και κύριοι, ευχαριστούμε. Ελπίζουμε να δώσαμε περισσότερη τροφή για σκέψη και να ρίξαμε φως. Καλή συνέχεια.